Hello guys, welcome back to The Crew 2. A bit of a review video. We're gonna talk about this game a little bit. After playing it for 2 weeks, well, more or less, because from autumn last year I'm already involved in technical tests, closed alphas, closed betas, open betas, been to a workshop in March, so I pretty much know what's going on with this game. And yeah, let's talk about the pro and the cons. As a long-term player from the Crew 1, yeah, it is definitely upgraded. Visually, it's upgraded. There are some issues here and there, especially if you're in a plane with some drawing distance that needs to be worked on. I am playing on PC, by the way, and I'm also playing with a keyboard. Playing with a keyboard, that also means if you go to the options and you go to the controls, yeah, we have a slight problem here. We can change the gearbox, which is advisable for instance for the drift, and I can play around with the cockpit camera animation. That is it. Steering linearity, steering dead zone, steering clamping, throttle linearity and so on, all grayed out. So I cannot change any of this, which means I can't steer fast enough, I can't steer sharp enough in some of the cases, which is a bit of a problem. This is addressed to the devs. They are working on it, they see what they can do, which is something that I'm going to say a few times, because there are a few things that they are doing. Here you can find the news section. There you can see what is going on. Activities and events are more or less explained. You can open the browser, we'll see what it's all about. Weekly challenges are coming up very time soon. Moving to the pilot menu, what can you find there? There you can find all your pictures. The photo editor is just great. You have a bunch of filters. Pictures are saved on your hard disk in 4K. They even make thumbnails from the picture that you take, which is very useful for people who are out there on YouTube or whatever. And you can just go through this thing here. If you want to see a picture, that's not a problem, you can see it. This is one in the wildlife category, and it is all working perfectly. For those who are involved in pictures and stuff, a really good thing. Also, the same goes for the video editor. Everything is recorded, whatever it is you do is recorded, and you can rewind the last 10 minutes. So you obviously have very much of options there as well. Because you can rewind, like, oh shit, I missed something, not a problem, just rewind and you can do it. Also, a very easy task, for instance, in the photo book events, which is a part of the activities, you can rewind. So you can like do a certain stunt and then rewind the thing, and so much and so long, as I had shown in the photo book events that I posted, so you can get the perfect picture the way you want it. What else can you find here is the timeline. As you can see, I'm icon 93 here. At the moment I'm on my first driver, because I am playing with 2 drivers. My other driver is icon 75 or something, I think. Working our way up to the Camaro ZL1. This is sort of a goal that I'm going for, and then it goes up for the plane, and you can all buy these vehicles as well. Once you reach the icon, you will get a refund of your in-game bucks. Except for level 600, which is the LaFerrari. That is not purchasable with in-game money, so you really have to work your way up there to icon 600. As a long-term player, looking around on my friends list, I see people on level icon 200, 300, stuff like that. After 2 weeks of time, that is all possible. I also see people on icon 700, 800, 900, 1000 and 2000. That is not possible. Those are AFK farms, bots, scripts, that kind of thing. And they are doing stupid stuff to get more followers and to get a higher level. Also, that is taken care of. They're looking into it. Legally, they need to find a way to get rid of those people, to clean out the leaderboards, and obviously, legally, they need to get away with it. But it is taken care of. So I do advise you, if you are playing this game, play it as it's meant to be played if you don't want to get in trouble. That's how it should be. That of the timeline. The narrative, what do you find there? There you find all the cutscenes. that you get throughout the game progression, throughout the campaign, throughout the story, whatever it is you want to call it. That is where you find the narrative. Icon points, probably the most important thing in the whole game, underestimated by many, is bonuses. That can be the bonuses on your performance bars, but also in general bonuses, icon points. In this case I am icon 93. That means I can spend icon 93 points in 3 different categories. At this moment in time I have spent 25 on pure, which increases the nitro power by 10% if you put 25 points on it, and now I'm working on the extra pump, which is increases the nitro refill by speed. You have all of these things related to nitro during breaks, during jumps, all of those things. It is what you want. Each of these categories can be reset, so I can reset. I have 31 points here in this first category. I can reset them and I could put them on something else if I want. And of course, if you want to have 25 points on all of these things, you need icon 650 level, and then you can put 25 points on each of them. And some of them are pretty important, as you will see. The second category is more specific things, collision impacts, void tolerance, slipstream power and slipstream distance. Those two is where I'm working on now. The drag bump is increases the speed while ahead of a vehicle. So what I make of this drag bump is that it's the opposite of slipstream. That is, if you are ahead, you can put points on here and you will more or less stay ahead. So if people have 25 points on slipstream and you have 25 points on drag bump, it's sort of going to be a pretty much equal it out a little bit. Muddy is more for the off-road and Bender is more for bikes. So yeah, whatever you want to put the points on. Then we come to the gameplay category. This is more specific things. Here you have increased the scoring for aerobatic events. So if you have 25 points, you will get more points in those aerobatic events. So the way I see it with these icon points is that the game only starts when you have all of these perk points. Because if you're into leaderboard challenges and stuff like that, you need a bunch of these points. This is also for planes, whether it's aerobatics or air race. It increases the extreme mode. There is a button on a keyboard, it's the handbrake button, I believe. If you press that, things move faster. If you do a roll with an airplane and you press extreme mode and you do the roll, it rolls faster. So you can do more tricks and you will get higher score that way. This is increases scoring for monster truck and motocross air rotation. This increases the scoring for skill tests. This increases the gate angle for air race planes, and this refills the nitro when passing perfect gate in air race. So it's all a bit for specific things. Most important here is probably the first two. Slippery increases the maximum multiplier by 25 in drift. I have put 25 points on here. That means that my multiplier can go to 75 instead of the normal times 50 that you can get if you don't have any points on there. So if you want to score 100, 200, 300, 400,000 points in drift, you need 25 points on this. And probably also 25 points on the hot hat, which increases the speed multiplier. So the multiplier will go up faster if you have 25 points on here. And if you have slippery, it will go up higher. So faster and higher, you definitely need those two if you want to get involved in the drift. It's as simple as that. And then you have the stats, which tells you how much time you spent in each of the families, how much bucks you made, how you're driving things, how much time you spent in a car and in a boat and so on, and how many times you've been involved in a group with friends and crews and social thing. You can find everything in here. Pretty handy. The roster more or less gives you a idea of your crew of 4. It gives you a list of your friends that are playing the game, how many are online, and it gives you a list of the session, which is empty at the moment. Because I just started up the game, I haven't been in the world yet, so there are nobody in my session. Session, yeah, as you can see here, 0 out of 7. You can only see 8 people in a session, including yourself. That is 7 in a session for other players. You sort of wake up in the house, and now for one reason or another, it always the rewards program, it always unlock that content every single time. So you sort of have to go through the house to start up the game, because otherwise your rewards program will be locked. They are looking into it, because normally this should automatically unlock and stay unlocked, but it unlocks every time you start up the game if you don't come to the house. The trailer here, yeah, that's a very nice trailer, but let's face it, we don't want to see it over and over again, so either they need to give us a remote control to put up this TV, or they need to come up with some other stuff. Also they're working on it, but obviously this is not priority. There are other priorities which are dealing with first. So it is priority in that way that it will be taken care of at one point or another. The options we already talked about, so then we come to the activities. 100% everything done on both drivers in my case, so yeah, then we can sort of go over the families. The yellow family, the street racing family, headquarters is in Los Angeles, it's called The Spot, and you will find 4 disciplines there. Street race, drift, drag and hypercar. Next to that you have skills and photo album events in each of the headquarters to get to a certain percentage. Once you have 70% in a headquarters, you can unlock the rival event, in this case the keys to the city. The races itself sort of represent 85% of the whole thing, skills 10% and photo album 5%, which makes it 100% in total for the whole family. Street race, pretty good. Lots of races, 16, 17 different races I think. You can do them on normal. Once you have done them on normal, you can also do them on hardcore. All not of a problem. Good variety and so on. The drift, a bit different than in the Crew 1. It's not so much about flicking your car about, it is about doing long drifts, control the car with the power, with the throttle, and then it's a pretty fun mode. Although normally I am not into drift, I have quite some fun in this thing. Quite important in here is something we will talk about later, is the pro settings. They help a lot, I can tell you that. So drift, yeah, I think about 8 events, which is not that many. I would like to see a few more events in drift. Drag race, yeah, it is what it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drag races, and that's for me personally that's more than enough, because I totally don't have a thing with drag. It is like it's going from point A to point B. There's not much skill involved. You just need to shift and hit a boost, and there you go. And you're talking about quarter mile, half a mile, or whatever race. And yeah, it's an American thing. It's an Eastern European thing. It's definitely not Western European thing. At least not for me. I'm totally not into it. I've done the events, and that's about it. I'm also not gonna mess about. I used the Challenger, I think, that I used here on this driver. On my other driver I used the little rough 3400, more or less a Porsche Cayman, and both of them did the job. Had a few issues on the other driver with the Porsche, with the rough, because it was like, yeah, not really could get the highest things without upgrading it a little bit. With the Challenger, with the Stingray, going by the leaderboards, it's Stingray or Challenger, and those seem to be like the better races. Hypercar is pretty much, yeah, if you're into this, long races, that's what it is. You have races about 10 to 15 minutes, you have races 15 to 20 to 30 minutes, and you even have the New York one going from New York to San Francisco, somewhere around half an hour to 3/4 of an hour. World record is 26 minutes at the moment. Not even sure if that's a legit time. Let's have a look. Noriaro, yeah, that is a legend time. That is GoPro IMAX. These guys, yeah, they're specialized in shortcuts and stuff like that. So they are. You have checkpoints, a lot of checkpoints, but that doesn't mean there are shortcuts possible. There's sometimes you come into hairpin sections in the mountains. You can just jump down if you find the right spot, and then you can do super fast times. You see a lot of Ferrari 458s here in the French list. The reason for that is pretty simple. That was the only hypercar we had from the rewards program, so lots of people have used that. That more or less covers the street racing headquarters. Personal favorite, probably the drift. The street racing is fine, lots of races. The drift is fine, not so much races. I would like to see a little bit more. Hypercar races, absolutely like those as well, because I like to do long races. Yep, this is the way to go. Drag race, yeah, that is like my least favorite for sure. Then we come to the off-road, rally raid, motocross and rallycross. Yeah, I kinda like the rallycross. It's more or less the dirt spec from the Crew 1, but yeah, then in a rallycross version we have rallycross tracks. Do have a bit of an issue with the Joker laps. I don't know how it is in the States, but here in Europe, a Joker lap should be at least 2 seconds slower, and you should only take it once. It's sort of a penalty lap if you can look at it like that. But in this game, no. The Joker laps are actually the shortcuts, and you have to take it 3 or 4 times. If you have to do 3 laps, you take it 3 times. If you do 4 laps, you take it 4 times. If you don't take it, you will be behind. It's as simple as that. So take the Joker lap in rallycross. Motocross, not bad. Unfortunately, also here, not that many events. You have about 8. 2 of them are not even on a motocross track. They are more into the woods and downhill section, and the first one is Wolf Territory. Completely goes to the back alleys of Los Angeles, so those are not even motocross tracks. Then you have 3 motocross tracks, and they have each of these tracks have a different layout, which gives them 2 events. So you have like 3. One is in the White Mountains in the East Coast, one is in Inglewood in Los Angeles, and the other one is not even sure where it is, somewhere in the Dallas area I think. And each of those tracks have 2 different layouts, and that's where you find those motocross events. And the rally raid is pretty much an A to B race with some checkpoints in the middle of it, and how you get to those checkpoints, that's all up to you. It's sort of a freedom racing, more or less. I don't have a problem with the thing itself, whether it not there is a bit of a problem if you have to do a night event, because big issue in this game is headlights. You can't see jack shit from them. They are working on it, they know it. Yeah, they know it for already 2.5 years, because people were already complaining about it on the forums from the Crew 1. So it's not like they do not know about it, which makes me kind of fear that they don't have a solution for it, because otherwise it would be fixed by now. But they are working on it, they know it's a big issue, and it's one of those things. They are working on it, hopefully they can get it fixed. I know they can do lights, because if you look at the helicopter, it has a spotlight underneath it that like lights up half a forest. If we could get like some of the light from the helicopter on the car, we would be good to go, and we could see where we were going. Then we come to the freestyle. The aerobatics, yeah, also here, if you want to get more points, you need icon points to get the point system counting a little bit faster. Other than that, it is what it is. You need to do some sort of tricks with an airplane, whether it's low altitude or doing loopings and stuff like that. All works pretty okay. Jet sprint, probably one of my favorite events or disciplines in the game. Little boats, twisty tracks, going, although you're not really going that fast, you're going like, I don't know, 80, 100 miles an hour, something like that. You still have a feeling like you're really going fast, because it's so small tracks. You go like in the middle of Las Vegas, why not? Really fun thing to do. The only problem I have with this is that yeah, there are like 6 or 8 events available, which again I find very little. If you compare it to the street racing, you have 16, 17 or 18 races, and here you only have 6 or 8 or something. Yeah, which is a bit of a problem also long term. I mean, like here now I have, after 2 weeks of playing, and I didn't even play this fast because I knew I can do it way faster. I can finish this game in 48 hours more or less. But yeah, I sort of spread it out in different videos as well, and almost 2 weeks into the game, this is the result. Everything at 100%. And after that, yeah, what's next, right? Monster Truck, yeah, totally not a fan of it. I was pretty good in it in the Crew 1, scoring 80, 90, 100,000 points in some of the arenas. It's the same for the arenas from the Crew 1. They visually upgraded them a bit, but it's the same thing. So in a way we already know the route. For a long-term player of the Crew 1, I know the route to take. But you have like, yeah, backflips, they don't really work. Well, in that way they work, but they don't give you points from it. So there's no point in doing all kind of tricks. It's just like you race, try to find the best route possible, and score whatever is out there of points. That's the only thing you can score. So you're gonna get scores like 15, 20, 25,000, and that's it, because there are no more points available in the 2 or 3 minute period that you can score points. And the tricks, backflips and misty flips and all that, that's totally gone. We don't see that anymore. You can do as much as you want, but you will not get points for it. So it's just a matter of getting to the 5,000 points, to getting to the 1,000 point markers, and as much as possible of the 500s to score points in the monster. I don't know. No, in this in this family, I should say, probably, yeah, by far the jet sprint, and then aerobatics, monster truck. Nope, it dropped to the last position for me, because it's not what it used to be, and also they're underpowered. You need to level up a little bit. Then we come to the pro racing. Powerboat. Yeah, powerboat is sort of like drag racing for me. You go from A to B. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty boring. That's what I make of it. It's, you fly over the water, but most of these races are pretty straight. Not much cornering about. They also don't take the corners as good as something like a jet sprint, obviously, because that's a smaller thing. So no, definitely the least favorite of this family. And then the air race, yeah, that's a pretty difficult one as one. Once you get going with these planes, you need to have them in a certain angle, go through a gate. Sort of, yeah, a replica of the Red Bull races, I guess. It is fun, but do not make the mistake of, if you have pre-ordered this game or you have the deluxe edition, you get this Pilatus or Pilatus PC-21 airplane. That thing is probably the worst to do this in. So I would go suggest buy something small. I think that on this driver I bought the cheapest plane available, which is the Slick Aircraft 360 HP. That thing works like a jiffy. It's a small thing, but it really works good. Also, the Zivco is a pretty good one to go through all of these events. The Pilatus and all those bigger planes, not so much, because they are not really maneuverable, and then you're gonna have a problem. Alpha GP, yeah, same story as with the jet sprint, more or less. 5 tracks available. We have Formula 1 cars. We only have 2 cars. We have the Red Bull RB13, and we have yeah, some sort of futuristic Formula 1 car that Ivory Tower created itself, called the Alpha GP Mark II, and that thing is even a little bit better than the Red Bull. So I would suggest go for that one, and other than that, there are only 5 races available, which is kind of strange, because there are I think about 8 racing tracks on the game. So why do we only have 5 races? I don't know. Not that I want to do oval racing in Little Eagle or Long Island, but also those tracks are there. So in theory you could do like some NASCAR style Daytona 500 if you want, but yeah, totally not into ovals, but they are there, we're not doing them. Then you have some of these tracks are used, like Laguna Seca, that's all fine, but you also have the touring car discipline, and then we don't race on Laguna Seca, which is a bit strange. But also here, 7, 8 events available. Also here, a little bit lack of events. So I really hope that in general, that they add more events to this, because as I am now here, I'm everything at 100%. There's not much to do for me. I can redo all of these. I have done everything in normal mode, like you should. And then you also, once you have done that, you will be able to unlock, like here, for instance, I can change the difficulty now to hard, and I can do everything again on hard mode, which you eventually have to do because you need parts. That's sort of go through the families. So let's have a look. Street racing, probably drift, hypercar, street race, drag, sort of in that order for me. In off-road, it's rallycross, motocross, rally raid, in that order. In freestyle, it's jet sprint, aerobatics, monster truck, and in pro racing, it's probably touring car, Alpha GP, air race, and powerboat. That's sort of the order for me. Now, we come down to the vehicles. Of course, you have 14 different disciplines in the game. In September, the hovercraft will be discipline number 15, which means you need a vehicle in each of the categories and you need to upgrade it. Upgrade it for street racing, that means 280. This here I have green parts, those are the normal parts. Then you have the blue parts, they have one bonus. You have purple parts, which are the epic parts, they give you 2 bonuses. And in September we're gonna have legendary parts, which will be yellow, and more than likely they will give you 3 different bonuses. So yeah, it's a bit of grinding to get the parts. As you can see, I have green parts here. The reason I do that is try to test these cars and bikes on a more or less stock max level. Let's call it that. So it's level 280, but just green parts. But I do have, I think on the Porsche here, I have a bit of a mix of rare and epic parts, blue and purple. And that yeah, gives all kind of bonuses involved. Then you cannot really test the real performance of the car. That's why I have the green parts about. So you can in each of the disciplines you can remove the parts, put those, like for instance here I can put the bike back to stock, and then those 280 green parts become available, and I can put them on whatever else that I have available here in street, and I can test them that way. The parts are swappable. You can switch them within each of the disciplines. But it's a bit of a grinding, so I have to have a 280 on the street race. But if we go to the next discipline, which is the drift, I have a bit of a mix. The maximum level for drift is 240 and my car is at 176. Not of a big of an issue. What is a big of an issue is why can't I have the pro settings here? For some reason or another. Weird. Maybe I need to go out of the world again first. Let's switch the vehicle to the drift. Yeah, this is also a problem. Just like in the Crew 1, you have to go through this whole list to find something. I'm thinking in future in PvP, if you're in PvP lobby and you need to go through the whole list here like this, like crazy to find your car, then you're gonna have the same problem as in the Crew 1. You can't find your car in those 15 seconds that you have to pick something, which is a bit of a problem. Now let's try again. Why didn't my pro settings work? Ah, now they do. If you go into the performance menu and you press F9 on a keyboard, that is, I don't know what you have to press on the things to get into the pro settings, and that's probably the most important menu of the whole game, because people complaining about physics and handling of the cars, yeah, they just haven't probably figured this one out yet. You have global settings. The first 4, traction control, ABS, ESP and slide help, are discipline related. So whatever I change here will go for all my drift cars. I put the traction control very low on 2 or so, ESP as well, ABS a little bit lower, and the slide help somewhere in the middle works perfectly. Then you have specific settings for the car or the vehicle that you are driving in at that moment. So that you have to do, I can change these 4 things for all my drift cars, but if I take another drift car I have to mess about with these settings to get it all done and up and running. There is a guide out there on Reddit. I will post a link in the description of this video, which gives you a pretty good idea on what all of these things do, and what will change if you put more to the front or to the rear, or if you put it more plus or minus. What does it actually do? Like for the gearbox, yeah, it's pretty easy. If you put it to the right, it's all about top speed. If you put it all the way to the left, it's all about acceleration. Although this setting is probably one of the worst in the whole thing, because it doesn't really do. You can put it like this, you can put it to the other side, it doesn't do much difference. Although the stats say they do, but in reality they don't. The tire, the grip, I just have it at maximum. I brought down the grip from the rear tire a little bit to about 8 for the drift car, that is. Brake power I brought it a little bit down. Brake balance you can play around with. Then you have suspension, compression and rebound, so as well for the front as for the rear. You have the camber in the front, the camber in the rear, and you have the anti-roll bar in the front and in the rear. Those are probably, yeah, these two are pretty important to mess around with. If you have some really the car is wobbling about a little bit, play around with these things and it will be more stable. Of course, I have pretty low all now because this is a drift car. You want the car to wobble about because you want to go with left and right. Of course, what also if you do go drift, change the gearbox to something like that. Meaning the driving manual. Then you can flick it about. Now, I have no idea how people can drive with cameras from behind, because as on a keyboard especially, those things don't react at all like they should. If you change the camera to hood cam or to the cockpit view, you have way more control over your car, you know where it's going. And then it's just a matter of controlling the drift with the throttle. And if it's not good enough, you can always change your pro settings again. Excuse me. It works pretty good. What I also have a problem with is, for instance, like you already see it, this guy, my guy here is driving a motocross helmet and a motocross suit. That's what he has on. So you have to go into house every time to change. If you change another discipline, yeah, then you end up in your motocross suit in a drift car. I wish we would have like some sort of menu where you can like pick whatever it is you want to wear on a certain car or on a certain bike. If I switch to a motocross bike, for instance, then it all makes much more sense. Then I have my motocross suit and my motocross helmet on. If I switch to something else, yeah, then I have to switch it all up. Go to the house and whatever it is that you want to put on, you can buy all kind of items there. Talking about the house, let's go in there and have a look, because yeah, there are a few things people don't even realize it's there. You always wake up more or less in the living room. What do you find in the living room? There you will find your favorite vehicle, although this is definitely not my favorite vehicle. On the water, on the road, and also in the air. This is the slick aircraft, by the way. Pretty small thing, pretty good for air races. Not so much the pilates that they give you from the thing. Other than that, you have a kitchen here and so on. You can also walk about on the terrace and go all the way around your house, in case you haven't figured that one out yet. Then you have an elevator. Also there is a little bit of a problem. If you go to the garage, that is where you will find your cars. You can change all of these cars 100 times, it does not save. So you go out of the game, you come back the next day, it doesn't save. It will put like a bunch of stock cars that I have from the rewards program in here. It's always these same cars that show up here. Although I had put the cars that I had customized and tuned and so in my garage, well, always end up with these things. Also that it's worked on, they're looking into it, and so on. Going to the harbor, also there nothing surprisingly. The starter's boat, the Proto Offshore Mark 1, the Blade Runner Season Pass exclusive, and a little jet sprint boat. That's all I have here. Other than that, you have, as you can see, more room there. You can put about 8 vehicles in here to sort of show up. And then we go to the hangar where you will find your planes. And then people tell me, yeah, but you can only one here, and then there's this is the aerobatic plane, by the way, the Zipco, also available in Air Race. The helicopter, the Spitfire, which is a Season Pass exclusive, and for some reason or another, where's my Pilatus? Oh yeah, right. For those who haven't noticed that, there is a second floor here, by the way. If you go up here, I saw some comments that like, yeah, but you only show up 4 planes. No, not really. As you can see, it has a second floor where you will find the Slick and the Pilatus, and I can put another one here and also another one behind there somewhere, I think. I see number 8 here, it's even numbered. I thought there was even number 9 on the... So I think you can put like 9 planes in on the 2 floors. Unless this is 6. Yeah, possibly 6 as well. And you can even look down to the first floor and see your other planes and stuff like that. So for those who haven't noticed yet, the hangar has 2 floors, ladies and gentlemen. And that is all fine, and that works all pretty good. And then you sort of wake up. If you go out on this plane, you wake up on your little airstrip thing that you have here. Yeah, it is kind of surprisingly, they give you a helicopter at one of those event things, but we don't have a heliport. So you can land on top of your house, on the roof of your house, but there's not like really, doesn't make you go into the house. If you just sort of fly by the house with your helicopter, it will actually go into the house. Let's select it for a second. There you go. It crashes for some reason or another. Don't ask me why, but so you cannot even land on that like second floor thing. You can land here, but it doesn't go in, as you see. Although this is a way to get in with like a plane. Hard to get into the house if you're in the helicopter. You can land on top, on the top. That's not a problem. But will not go in. It's a bit weird what they're doing with that. I did manage to get into the house once or twice, I think, coming from this side and then sort of flew next to the house. And then one reason or another you get in. That was in Los Angeles though. It doesn't seem to work here in. Yeah, you can always switch to your boat and go into immediately to the living room, which is also something, yeah. If you go in with your boat, you more or less should go into the harbor, I think, but somehow you always end up in your living room. That being said, now I have everything at 100%, and that comes a bit to the problem for me with this game is, yeah, what now? So I've done all the races and also the live extreme series. This is some races where you use 3 different disciplines. They are fun, but also here a bit lack of content. You have 5 of these things. The first one is a tutorial race. You cannot even redo them. You can't find it on the map, so you cannot redo the first extreme series episode. For leaderboard challenges or so, a bit strange. And then you have 4 more of those races available, and then the grand finale. You can do them on normal and then you can redo them on hard if you want, and that's all fine, but other than that, it is what it is. From this moment on, the game becomes a grinding game because you need to upgrade vehicles, you need to test vehicles to see what it's all about and to see which is the fastest in each of these 14 different disciplines. 15 in September when the hovercraft becomes a discipline. So yeah, a lot of testing to do, a lot of getting upgrades and test it all out before the PvP is there. So people who are waiting on the PvP till December to buy this game, I think that's a bad decision, because you will show up in that game, you have to go through everything of these races, you have to upgrade your cars, which will not be that easy, it takes quite a while. Yeah, some people have comments on that, personally I don't. I really like the loot system in this game, it is what it should be. It's more or less rewarding long-term players. Those people that want to play the game, that want to put effort into the game, will have epic parts, will have rare parts, will have cars at the maximum. Those people who want everything thrown at their head and get everything for free, and yeah, those people are not gonna have a field day in this game, because that's not what it's made for. Those people that covering this game on their YouTube channel for like 2-3 weeks and then they move on to the next game, yeah, you're gonna have a bad time and really testing stuff, because you're not gonna be that easy to do. But that's yeah, for me personally, I like the loot system. If you put effort into the game, you get rewarded. Like in my case, I have the rewards program from the Crew 1, like many of us out there did. You sort of get rewarded for playing the Crew 1 with about 19 cars. Didn't even have to buy anything. I think I bought a motocross bike. I didn't like the pickup that they gave us for touring car, so I replaced that one. I bought something else, and also the GP Alpha and the air race plane. So it's like 4 or 5 different vehicles that I needed to buy. Other than that, I had everything. There were, from the rewards program, there were drift cars, there were rally raid cars, there were street racing cars. Just use those things to do the event, and it works fine. I bought some clothing here and there, and that's about it. 4 or 5 vehicles, some clothing, and I have everything at 100%. I have 5.6 million bucks in game. Another one of those things. Oh yeah, but how do you buy things? And it's hard to get. It's not hard to get money in this game. If you just do the events, you will get everything at 100%, and you will have a few million left over, as you can see. So it's not that hard to do. And on that note, I'm sorry, gonna stop the video here. I will put a link in the description for the pro settings tuning. More or less explained what all of these settings do. They're gonna help you a lot, because those people that are complaining about the physics of the game, that means that you haven't been messing about with the pro settings. You can tune the car. A lot of these settings make a big difference. So if you can tune the car the way you want it to handle, that's just where to do it. The pro settings. I put the link in that. Other than that, at 6 PM tonight, Tuesday, there will be a live stream, and we'll see what they are on about. They're sort of gonna keep us up to date with feedback, what is going on, what the devs are working on, what they are giving priority to, and so on. So normally, if everything goes according to plan, every Tuesday at 6 PM Paris time, they will do a live stream. It will be no different today, seeing it is Tuesday, and in about 1 hour, well, that is when I'm recording, I still need to upload the video as well. So around 6 PM tonight, you will see the live stream on the Crew 2 or the Crew Game.Twitch TV. Also there, we'll put the link in the description. Sort of a quick look around on what is going on in the game. Everything at 100%, and now it's about buying cars, upgrading them, and testing them, and be prepared for PvP when it comes. And other than that, whatever it is that they throw at us. I'm also expecting the first of the weekly challenges to show up anytime soon. Probably by the end of the month we will also get our first update, meaning 2 new cars, or 2 new vehicles, but more than likely it will be a bike and a car this time. I think the Ferrari FXXK and the MV Brutale Dragster bike, they already shown them in some sort of trailer, so more than likely that will be the updates for July. Next to that, maybe some extra events, some extra skill tests. We will see what these updates actually include. And other than that, you will have the regular patches. So, stuff to do. There are also some issues, obviously. The headlights is a big issue. Not being able to fast travel where you want is, for me personally, also an issue. The GPS line, a lot of people are missing those as well. It's all been taken care of, it's all been looked into. At one point or another, the most requested things will be showing up in the game. I'm pretty sure we will see a GPS line anytime soon, and maybe over time, when we can really convince them that we need fast travel anywhere, that might also show up. Other things they are looking into, but those are the livestream force. They sorta gonna keep us up to date on what is going on and what's gonna happen in the upcoming patches and updates and so on. That will be it from my side. A bit of a quick overview on what is going on. We'll see you guys in the next one, and bye for now.